Hello, ladies and germs. Welcome. Just did a little tutorial on how to make Roman work on these Edge Switch 8150s. So why the hell not do a teardown? Because they are actually a pretty cool little switch. So let's do our first teardown at my new lab. We're going to switch over to the top-down camera now. All right, so let's see here. And the cool thing is I now have a proper view screen in front of me because I can use my tablet connected to this thing and be able to see what I'm doing. So this is a really wicked little switch. This is the Ubiquiti Edge Switch 8150. This thing is an 8-port, dual voltage. It does either proper 802.3 AAF, which is 48 volts, or it'll do passive 24 volt. It's got two 1 gig SFPs, and on the back, even cooler, not only does it have a console port, but it's got a 54.4 volt, aka 48 volts, polarity independent input rate here, so you can use this in any type of plant. It's an isolated power supply. True 48 or, like negative 48 volts, which in big telecom, everything's negative 48 volts, but more and more you're starting to see common, just standard 48. These things will also work on AC, so they're perfect if you're trying to get this thing set up, but you've still got some like crappy little UPSs and that. So 1 second here. There we go. Back at her. So anyway, this is great because you can like start off with AC and then eventually move over to DC. And yes, you put your 48 volts in here, aka 54 volts DC, and you can get your dual voltage out. So let's take some screws out of this thing. Let's take it apart. Here we go. I got lots of really neat shit to take apart for you guys, and I want to show you guys some new hardware. I've got some Nokia equipment now, thanks to one of our awesome channel sponsors. Let's see here. So it looks like, let's see how this thing comes apart. I've got 2 screws out. There we go. Yeah, it slides. There we go. So we've got this thing open now. 2 screws. That's all it took. Awesome. I guess the warranty is voided. Let's see here. There we go. I'm gonna manhandle this thing. Oh, look. Wow, 4 leads for the front panel LED, which is like white and blue. Fancy. All right, so what do we got here? Let's take a look at this now. Let me focus this on there. This is a cool thing, actually. I can tap the screen to focus so I can make sure that I'm focused in the right place. So here's our switch. This is a switch itself, okay? The switch by itself, okay? There's our massive switch chip. I'm not sure what chipset it is, but I'm sure that we can find it if we take this off. On the back here is our DC board. Ooh, this is really interesting, actually. So obviously there's a blocking diode here to make sure that the power flows one direction, but it looks like the DC comes in here and then goes straight through, bypasses this power supply into the board here. Now I'm going to grab a set of cutters, see here, and clarify where the cables are and what they're doing. So let's just cut this so we can see the path, okay? So if you look here, the AC power supply produces your 48 volts, and it comes into this small power board, which has some blocking diodes on it to make sure that only one power source can essentially be used. No, this does not mean that you can charge with this. I do not believe that you can charge with this output. I believe that it's one way, in only, okay? So you've got your AC power supply here, 48 volt, going into this power board at the back here, and then from there it goes into the main switchboard. Neat, eh? And then look, this is like the little serial interface. So this is actually real serial. So we've got receive, transmit, and ground in 3.3. So this is so cool. I just realized something. So the serial console at the back here, it's just a pass through. It's just a carry through over to this board here. So realistically, if you wanted to shave this thing down a little bit, by the way, I do not advise that at all. You can literally just take all that off and you've got way less shit in here. Now here's something really cool that I like to see. Let me see, I'm gonna, can I zoom in? Let's take a look over here. This is something which is really nice. I like this, this is neat. Okay, let's get some more light down here. All right, so if we look here, we can see a GDT. Let me just get this, there we go, get some more light on there. Can I turn this up a little bit? Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. Yes, we can get more light, awesome. Okay, so I got less light on my face now, but that doesn't matter, this is more important. So it looks like we've got a GDT over here. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts that thing is actually in line with the ground on the ports here. So this will come through here over to this GDT and then out to the actual ground plane here. We can check that with the multimeter in a second. But you can see that there's power conversion going on here as well. So it looks like we've got a buck scenario going on over here. This comes into the board at 48 volts, and then there's a buck converter here that takes it down to 24. Although I'm seeing inductors here, which would lead me to believe that the board is actually receiving 24 volts. So we're gonna get a multimeter and take a look at things. Let's go get the multimeter. Hold on. All right, let's use this one. I think this one will, cut the mustard. So we're gonna go to volts DC, go here. And let me just move this aside for a second. I'll zoom this back out. There we go, I'll refocus. I like this, being able to focus like this. This is great. I hope you guys can see the meter there. Maybe I should move this over just a little bit. There. Now you can actually see the voltage on here. So let's get a power supply and put this thing in. Or a power cord, sorry. Power supply. I guess technically it's a power supply, right? Oh yeah, I'm making a mess. Fuck yeah. All right, so let's plug this thing in. Let's get some power going to this thing. Cool. And now let's see what the power is on this guy. So let's see here. This actually, you know what? I'll just unplug the power supply for a moment. There we go. So we'll go like this. Gotta make sure that's fully plugged in. All right, so how many volts we got here? Am I right? 53.3 volts. So just a step down from 54. It is a shame that we can't charge off that port because that'd be really handy now, wouldn't it? So we've got 53.3 coming in here. So that's feeding the switchboard here. Just for shits and giggles, I wonder what would happen if I did actually connect. I'm gonna have to do an experiment with this, but I'm pretty sure just by the way that it's wired that won't work. Now let's disconnect that now. All right, so coming in here at 48, we're going through here. We've got another blocking diode. This is the power conversion circuitry over here to give us our 24 volts. Now, let's see if we can get into, let's take up this part a little bit more. Because, you know, what's a good teardown without, like, a good teardown? I really do also need to order some more probes. During the move, it's just been crazy. I know that I've lived here since the beginning of May, but, I mean, with all the work that I've been trying to do, catching up, and, it's definitely not as cheap as where I was living before. Things have been a little anarchist, and my tool sets have changed a few times. So I need to get more probes. This is out of the way now. So let's actually take this heatsink off. And by the way, something to note here. This is actually really nice. So we've actually got, if you look here, so it looks like the transformer here, so these two voltage regulators, and the CPU, or APU, or whatever the hell you want to call it for the edge switch here, both have ductive pads here. We've got coupling pads going down to aluminum blocks here that go to the chassis to help cool things off. So this is actually a really nice switch because they're really making efficient use of the surface area. Okay, of the chassis. Now let's get this heatsink off. There we go. Just pinch these little guys. I should probably put some thermal compound on here after I put it back on. Let's see if it'll actually come off in a friendly manner, or am I gonna have to like really manhandle it? Nope. There we go. But I am gonna have to put new thermal compound on there now. So let's see what we got on here. That looks like a Broadcom. Broadcom. Let me grab some cleaning utilities. And I should probably grab some thermal compound because only an idiot would put this back together without thermal compound. That'd be a dumb thing to do because anytime that you break a thermal connection like this, you're going to, or a thermal coupling of any sort, you are going to not be able to recombine it the same way because they also use this stuff that goes hard, right? Okay, so let's see here. There we go. So this is a Broadcom. We get to see what kind of switch this is right now. So this is a Broadcom BCM 5. Here, I'll just zoom in. Fuck it. So we're looking at a Broadcom BCM 53343 chip. And let's look that up on the computer now. I'm just going to go over to my computer for a second here. So BCM, what do we got here? 53343. Let's see what comes up. Ah, here we go. So this is the Wolfhound BCM 5334X series. Let me read off what this says. So it's a SoC, okay, so system on chip. The BCM 53344 and BCM 53346. So this is actually a gen before it. Switch family offers industry-leading integration performance in a small footprint. The device offers up to 24 multi-layer gigabit Ethernet ports and a maximum of 4 integrated 1G and 10G SerDes transceivers, respectively, in a small package, offering the industry's highest level of integration. Blah, 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 have embedded 16 gigabit E physical layer, physical, and powerful 400 megahertz ARM Cortex A9 processor. It's ideal for cost-sensitive edge connectivity applications such as web smart switches for small to medium business. It offers I/O configurations that address key segments of edge connectivity to reduce the overall system cost. The device is engineered for low power operations to enable up to 48x GBE by 4x 10 GBE or 13 gig stacking designs. Furthermore, the device I/O is optimized for simplified board layout when used with the Broadcom QSGMII PHY. Both the blah 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 devices can be connected to the physical without any trace crossovers. Features: integrated high-performance Cortex A9 processor, 24-port 10-100-1000, SoC integrated copper, 2 integrated 1 GBE interfaces, non-blocking performance, 24 by GBE and 48 by GBE systems, fully integrated packet buffer. There we go. So that's actually a pretty cool little chip. That is a very cool little chip. And just, let me just... because I'm going to be using this for all sorts of lab things. And thank you, by the way, to the individual who donated this. I believe it was Lakeside Wireless, who donated this switch kindly to the channel. I would like to give you a shout out and thank you so much for donating this piece of equipment for the lab, where it shall live for the rest of its days until I eventually probably blow it up with high voltage. We'll see. It's a very useful switch for lab purposes, and a lot of you guys use it. So I'm going to put some of this thermal compound on, and I like to dab it around here. Let's go here. There we go. I like to just kind of dab it around. Every time I tap, I'm pressing down on the little plunger here, okay? And that way I can get full coverage. I just go around like a little bead. I'm sure all of you guys have your own technique, but this is what manages to get me full coverage every fucking time, and I'm not ashamed of it because once I put this heatsink on, that's going to be, let's see here. See? Nice coverage, right? There we go. So now I can push this back through. I'm going to have to lift this up a little bit. Boop. See here. There we go. Boop. And boop. There's the other one. Push this guy through like so. And there we go. We've got the thermal compound on there. We can now put this guy back together. So let me zoom out. There we go. All right. I don't want to sound like a broken record. I just want you guys to know that I'm extremely grateful for all the help that you guys give me to make this channel happen. And I feel very guilty when I don't get things accomplished because my ADHD really makes it fucking difficult to accomplish anything. I'm very distractible, especially when I'm tired. It really is a shitty condition to have. I don't know if you'd call it a disease, mental illness, or what, but ADHD fucking sucks. And I don't think people realize that it can be a very crippling condition. So if you have friends who have ADHD, don't make fun of them. I mean, make fun of them. I mean, life's short and have fun, but at the same time, realize that no, it really is a struggle having it. Here we go. So we've got this. Now that I'm done being preachy, let's plug this in. We should probably zip tie these guys back together. So let me grab a zip tie. All right, we'll grab two of these little babies. Put them through here. So we got one over here. Mwah. It's good to keep these things tidy because they hold everything in place. And if you don't want to hold everything in place, sometimes shit can go sideways. There we go. You don't want that shit going sideways. It's never a good thing. Okay, so let's see here. So this guy here goes through like so. Put a second one on over here. I think this one folded back a little bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, whatever. We'll fucking figure it out. Just put it through like this. This is kind of cool because I'm kind of giving this thing a little bit of a renewal, right? I'll just put one more on here for good measure. I think this is actually supposed to come back though. I really do think so. Oh, well, yeah, probably. Look, I should actually have it a little bit looser over here. There, that should be fine. Cool. All right, so this thing can go back together now. Now, putting this guy back together, we got to be mindful of this. The LED cord. Nope. All right. Poke that down in there. Now, how do we get this fucker back together? I wonder if my heroes ever watch this channel. I am a big fan of Electro Boom and BigClive.com and Greg Sell and Willie Howe. And it's just, I would really love it if one of them actually like saw my channel and was just like, good job, Sarah. That'd be amazing. Big Clive's amazing. And by the way, in case you guys weren't aware, one of my other favorite YouTubers who was actually having a really hard time for a while there, Photonic Induction, is back. And he's making videos again, better than ever. He's finally made it through his bullshit. And he is back. Life is being good to him right now, and it's just wonderful to see him back and know that he's doing better. I think a lot of us were hoping he would return, and we're actually really upset that he was struggling a bit. But yes, he's back on, and life's starting to get good for him, even though the UK government fucked him pretty hard. All right, there we go. This guy is back together. It can be put back into service. All right, so let us plug it back in and make sure that the bloody thing works. Yep. Looks like it's booting up just fine. I don't think we need to see it go white, but it should start flashing white in a moment. But there you go. That is the inner workings of the Edge Switch 8150. So it's the ES8150. It's a great little switch. It's got dual SFP 1 gig ports, and it's got 8 dual voltage PoE ports. It'll run on AC or DC. And just remember, though, this little guy here, just because it does dual voltage doesn't mean it'll run passive devices that are 48. It will struggle with some passive 48 volt devices because some 48 volt devices are not actually, how do I put it? They're only 802.3 AF, and that's the only 48 volts this guy can do is proper PoE, okay? So with this guy only having 24 volt passive and then proper PoE, if you plug a device into it that is true passive and doesn't have the ability to trigger a PoE port, the port won't energize. The solution for that is there's lots of manufacturers out there, but I know Tycon makes one. They have 802.3 to passive PoE adapters that you can plug into these ports to run them, so you still have the PoE switch and can run your devices. An example of that is I believe that the Ubiquiti Airfiber 60LR and the LTUs will not trigger the PoE port on here. They're passive only. I could be wrong on that, so don't crucify me. But there's a lot of devices that are Ubiquiti made that will not trigger the 48 volts on these guys, unfortunately. So just be mindful of that, right? But anyway, otherwise, this is a really good switch. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again to the Patreons who are keeping us fed and alive and improving the quality of the videos. And yes, don't forget Ms.Fixit on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All right, you guys all have a great day. All right, we'll see you later, guys. Ciao.